Hello, we're back. So I'm going to show you how to import FBX files into Maya and prepare them or use them as the format for receiving information, particularly to clean up scans. So the first thing that I do is, of course, ensure that I am in the project folder that I need to be. If not, you can always set a project. You can go over here, click that set project thing. You can see I have dip scans as my option, so I've selected that over here. Then we can go to Maya, and our next stop is to just import stuff. So let's import. I always go into my options just in case, but even if you don't want to, you can just click import like this. And what it will do is provide you, take you to your scene files where you can see we have a variety of just options over here. So you can see over here, we've got bay 1, 2, and 3. We've got the upstairs oven. So let's try the upstairs oven because it's a little bit different and possibly harder. And I'm going to hit import. A little bit of a circle. And if you don't see anything, use your middle mouse button to scroll backwards. Otherwise, you can hold down the Alt key, right click, and zoom out. Another thing that you can do is just hit A or F if you've got anything selected, and it will show you what the world is that you're looking at. So you can see by default, it looks like this. It's pretty intense. If you hit 6, you will see the renders, actually the textures, not the renders. So this stuff we've got from our scan, and that means I can actually move or carry information over for myself as I need it. And as you can see, we only want a particular set of things. So maybe I only want this part of the wall. Maybe I just want some of these steps over here, whichever way it is, or even this part of the beehive oven. I can actually just start to set geometry accordingly. Now, there are a few different ways to make geometry. The simplest is to come over here to your poly modeling, your shelf. This whole area is called a shelf. And you can see there's curves, surfaces, poly modeling. Sometimes it'll be set to like custom or something where you don't see anything. So just search through these tabs over here until you find the poly modeling menu. Also, keep an eye out for this little square over here, because this square is where any new objects will show up. So just so you can see the difference in scale, this is one of the reasons why we, want to be careful about bringing in too much information. So let me start off with, we can work with a cube, just because there's a little bit more modification that you can do over here. Or if you want, you can work with a plane. If you work with a plane, then you don't need to do UV mapping. And that could actually work in your favor, because then all you're doing is bringing this up, rotating this, and you can see over here on the right side, this is our channel editor. I'll be able to actually modify this. So I can do if I do 90 degrees, you're going to see that this side looks dark and this side looks bright. That's because this side is sort of the inside of the geometry. So you really do want this to go with a -90 so that it's facing in the same direction as the geometry where you're going to get textures from. So I'm going to bring this up here. Let's set this up. And you can see it's pretty interesting, but I can actually control how the geometry is going to look, or how the geometry will receive information by doing something like this. And I'm going to actually scale it sideways to make it the width of this wall. If you're wondering what tools I'm hitting to get this, actually, let me just start up Karnak. So if I hit W, you can see this down here. That's the move tool. If I want to rotate, I hit E. If I want to scale it, I hit R. So let me just come back into this window, hit R, and now I can scale this to whatever size I want. But first, let me just edge this up over here. Maybe we want to scale this up a little bit as well. So part of this is because what I want to do is grab some of the information for these steps as well. And because we already have geometry here, let me hit 4 to hide this so that it kind of becomes see-through. But you can see I can actually consider taking some of these edge loops. If you right click, go to edges, I can grab this, go to my front view, hit F. Oh, I think I'm looking at it sideways. So let's go to my side view, hit F again, and 4. So you can see I can actually drag this and move this up to this point, and then grab this. Might want to grab all of these actually. Ooh, nope. I'm going to do this with vertex. Sometimes when you select something, it can be made more difficult to do the selection in edges versus vertices. But let's look over here. I hit 5 to bring this to this. And I'm going to hit 4 now again, because I want to move this backward. Set this down. I'll keep it slightly angled. Hold down Control to deselect, and now I'm going to take the second step. And part of this is just I want to test this as well to see, but you actually can get some pretty good results just by sort of playing around with something like this as well. So working with planes right now gives us an advantage, which I really want to use, which is that you can also kind of come over here. I'm going to click down here so that I'm only affecting these faces. I'm going to make that here. Just select this, right click, go into face mode. That way you're not selecting this in itself. But now what I can do is I can kind of change or get rid of these faces over here so that they don't get in the way of the stairs, you know, so that I can model out the stairs myself if I need to. Ooh, let's not do that. We're in vertex mode. And I'm going to just grab these 2, 3, bring them down. And let's make this, oops. Like this. So that it's getting information, but not, you know, too much information. And then we'll let this go blank if we want, or if you'd like, we could actually delete these faces. It doesn't matter either way. It won't make much of a difference. So I'm going to go back into object mode, and then I'm going to come to these buttons up here, and I'm going to delete history and freeze these transformations so that I have this sort of saved up in its own way. And once that's done, you can look at your UV editor if you want, and you can see this is the UVs that we've made. So that's going to be really good. And what we want to do is we want to transfer the textures from this mesh onto this mesh, but only the parts, of course, that like correlate. So I'm going to just make this so that it's kind of sitting right on top of the geometry. Let's see how this goes. Let's also hit save to this scene. If you are saving by default at a Maya binary, I would change that to a Maya ASCII just in case, and then call this beehive top. not tip. And then say wall, top wall. Okay. So we've just saved this file. That's all we've done so far. The next stop is actually the most important, which is coming from here into our rendering menu so that you can find the texturing menu. Oh, sorry, the lighting and shading menu. I do this every time. Transfer maps so that you get this. And you can see there's a target mesh and then there's a source mesh. So if your target mesh has a funny name, let's just change it. Call it BH wall, right? And just so we can like select this, let's remove this guy or close this and reopen it so that you can see that this has been updated. And then let's find the source mesh. The source mesh is just mesh. Let's add this on. And here it'll tell you what types of maps it's going to export. So we can take out a normal map and a diffuse color map. And then let's go in over here, change our file format and make sure that things are going to look right. So I'm going to just change this from diffuse color map DDS to PNG. And let's give it a name that's something other than this. PNG. Images. Let's say BH wall texture, just because. And then do the same thing over here. So change this to PNG, bring this over here, images, make sure it's still PNG, and then say BH wall normal. Hit save. And then you can connect the maps to a shader, which is great. You can always take a look at the size. If you don't want to do this at a massive, like to take too long, you could do it at a smaller width. But for our settings, for your good settings, you want to make sure that you're 100% working with the largest size that you can. So we're going to go to 4096. We're fine with everything else over here. And our next stop is just to hit bake. Once we do, basically this is the time to take a really good vacation, or actually go and get a coffee break and wait to see what comes back. So I'm going to hit bake and close, and then I'm going to go take that coffee break. I'll be back in a sec. All right, now that's done. Let's take a look and see what got created. So I'm just going to open up my dip scans and go into, it should save in images. So you can see this over here is a wall texture. Oh, sorry, hold on. It's sideways, but that's okay. Let's open this with picture viewer. That should work. And this is the texture that's been copied over. So now let's quickly take a look. I'm going to just hide this. So I hit H to hide, and you can see what this is looking like. It actually carried over quite a bit of the information. And that means we can actually come in over here with vertices if we want. I wouldn't really like reshape them like this, but we can put in transparencies around it if we need to, or cut and overlap this over other sections. So this way you can really save your information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save, actually, let's save this scene, and I'm going to delete the big mesh wall, the mesh model, this thing. So I'm going to just hit delete over here, because that would be really good. And just as a quick, for testing purposes, I'm gonna just hit 6. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's just open up our render view and see how this looks. Oh wait, there's no lights. Sorry. Right. Let's create a sky dome light. Now let's see this. So if your bump map or normal map isn't showing up, which it might not right away, that's okay, because that just means that this isn't connected all the way. I'll show you guys how to do that in a different model, but at least for now, we've got quite a bit of information saved up over here. And some of the bumps and stuff are carrying over, but I'm sure we can get better results as we go. So that's that. Test this out, see if you can make it work. And yeah.